The demagogues curtailed their opponents' freedom and invented new rights for themselves, not through the democratic process, but through redefining words. Critical thinking in the sense of objective analysis hardly exists on university campuses today, but the sort of thinking proposed by critical theory dominates. And just what is the theory? Simple: to criticize. Thank you to Michael Knowles for these wise words, and happy Freedom Friday, Patriots! Welcome back to Uncommon Sense. I am your host, Billy the Kid, and today we are freeing our minds.
United, there is little we cannot do.
Alright, thank you for joining me today on Freedom Friday. I'm going to get straight into it. Today we're talking about critical thinking. To put it plainly, critical thinking is analyzing facts and what you know to be true in order to form a logical conclusion or judgment. As humans, we want to be rational, and we want to be right. Critical thinking is essential to ensuring one is rational, consequently heightening the chances of one being right. A critical thinker does not use emotion or opinion, but fact to make his argument. In an argument or debate, critical thinking is important to make your case, and if your argument cannot be supported with logic and fact, your chances of winning are low. And we're not talking about aggressive arguments between two people who viciously and passionately disagree. An argument is simply a collection of statements that together form reason for further statements. An argument, as it's described, can be a simple back and forth conversation in which each party questions the other or others, eventually leading to a conclusion. To make a good argument, your statement must have premises that results in the conclusion being true, or at the very least having high chances of being true. Now, some people can accomplish this with a silver tongue, but even those with a silver tongue can be taken down with facts. So, now that we've covered the basics, my question is, how can we use critical thinking against irrational arguments from opposing political views? Most specifically, the woke left. This, as many of you know, is quite a challenge and nearly seems impossible due to the common factor that these woke justice warriors think almost purely with emotion and no logic. When their feelings-based argument is countered with blatant fact and they fall short of winning, they shut out all opposing facts and tend to become irate, and hence the unnecessary name-calling begins. Even so, there are some out there who we might classify as woke, but they are simply following what they were taught. And when they are confronted with information or evidence that contradicts their indoctrination, it makes them think, backtrack through the woke teachings, and begin to find holes in the ideology spewed by their advanced indoctrination institution, or so-called university. For these individuals, I have faith. I do believe there are some woke speakers out there that can be brought back to reality. I have to believe this in order to keep hope for the individuals to whom I was very close to before this whole thing very suddenly turned people like me into public enemy number one. For me personally, I was never red-pilled, as they call it. I've been registered a Republican since I could vote. But I did have an unplugged from the matrix moment, to an extent, when I realized that even some people with a similar mindset as I, when it comes to government corruption and mass media indoctrination and those such things, that some of these people were falling for this woke ideology. That was a real eye-opener for me. For me, there has always been some ideals and viewpoints in the Republican Party that I could not fully align with, and I tend to think of myself as more of a constitutionalist and an independent, free-thinking American, party completely aside, although I've never changed anything on paper. Even as a strong constitutional believer, I can see where there are flaws in our system, most of which I think are policies and additions that have been put in place by the Democratic Party, but still there are many issues on which my views fall center field. And I think there are more citizens like myself than there are those who believe in the radical ideologies of either the right or the left. There is a good-sized middle ground for us to stand on. And this is on many social and political problems. And knowing this, I think, could be a great advantage for patriots. All that said, I'd like to point out that if one is a critical thinker, one has the ability to make logical arguments for their beliefs without the need to influence the conversation with their own personal morals or religion. Good morals form from truth of what is good and what is bad. Therefore, those who are taught to think logically and seek truth develop good morals. Thus, a true critical thinker projects good morale, no matter their religion. In conclusion, I will leave you with this. When confronted with woke speak, especially from those that we care about, I think it is paramount that we keep that center field in mind. If we can find common ground with one another, keep an open mind, and calmly use facts united with critical thinking and understanding, we stand a chance in this battle for our compliance. Thank you for tuning in to Freedom Friday today on Uncommon Sense. Keep thinking, keep learning, keep moving forward. I'm your host, Billy the Kid, signing out.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Don't forget, Uncommon Sense is now available in audio form thanks to Anchor.fm, where you can also support the show. From Anchor, you can link to your favorite listening app or listen right from Anchor.fm. Anchor allows us to be available on 5 listening platforms as well as YouTube and Rumble. The Anchor link can also be found on our YouTube page on the top right-hand corner.